Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers, and this afternoon I'm looking at a book from Jordan Publishing Limited. It's one that many of you will know. It's now in a second edition and it's called Practical Corporate Governance for Smaller Quoted Companies. In other words, it's a company law book looking at the smaller company, but we use corporate governance as the words. Now, it's written by Dr. John Mellon. This is the book itself. You can see what it looks like from there. It's got useful information all the way through, a small index at the back, some quite useful stuff at the back as well to show you what it's all about. And then there's a contents page there. It's not a heavy book at all. See that? It runs to something like 170 odd pages, something like that. It's quite light. Very, very useful actually as a short guide to what we're doing. I'll put it over there. And this is what we said about the book in our review. We've given it the title, The Latest Edition of this useful guide to corporate governance for smaller quoted companies, and that's exactly what it is. And especially if you are advising in the lower threshold type of case as either counsel or a solicitor, I think you'll find this very helpful. It's also useful to look at it to keep up to date, because when I read company law at university, which is a very long time ago now, things were rather different from the way they are today. We've been through several big financial crises as well. So this is what we say about the book. While there are quite a few books on corporate governance out there, this book, in our view, now in a second edition from Jordan's, is one of the few to focus on smaller quoted companies. In this context, what do we mean by smaller quoted companies? Well, they include those outside the FTSE 350 and on the main list of the London Stock Exchange. However, if you're a director of a company aspiring to join the main list or the FTSE 250, or you're aiming to achieve membership of the FTSE 100 index, this book is for you, because obviously it's very much for those moving up in terms of the work they're doing in corporate governance. As a former international corporate banker from Citigroup and an advisor to smaller corporations and corporates, the author, Dr. John Mellon, frequently stresses that the governance of an enterprise equates to leadership. Governance, he says, is no guarantee of success in business, but without effective governance, business failure is the more likely. A considerable amount of new material has emerged in this often complex area, hence the new edition. So you really do need to get this current book, this one here, now in the second edition, as I say, because it's a well-established title in our view, which will keep you completely up to date. For example, there are considerable and detailed discussions on company law boards and their relationship to shareholders, and obviously it's useful to know how the company and its structure itself is going with new legislation and new views in the 21st century. Please note in particular the comments and extensive quotes from the late Hugh Parker from McKinsey on board effectiveness, which he says in his letters to the new chairman, which is in there. This is followed by a boxed section giving guidance on board performance evaluation in the form of questions. For instance, how well has the board performed against any performance objectives that have been set? That's one of the key questions, number one, for instance. The third question, which is listed again there, and I'm not going to show you, can find it in the book, is on risk management, which is also a key question. Risk management being pretty important, I think, for most organisations today. So therefore, such thought-provoking content is typical of the helpful commentary you're going to get when you actually look at the book. And another notable feature are the numerous and extensive case studies which offer the reader examples of corporate governance in action. Again, very useful in this sort of day and age. Here, such crucial aspects of corporate governance as audit, remuneration and nomination committees are also well covered. It's logically and consistently structured throughout. Each chapter of the book contains an introduction and a conclusion, which makes it easier to navigate. And I like that sort of thing. It's what we're used to in most of the big law books anyway. and with its 13 appendices and an index, the book functions not merely as an excellent guide, but a handy starting point for those interested in undertaking further research in this topic area. What a boon for company directors, obviously, and company secretaries and investors, as well as lawyers and other advisors. Not only is the book up to date, it also offers some interesting speculation about future trends, always useful for anybody looking at their, for instance, their long-term plans and their mission statement. So if you either run a smaller quoted company or advise those who do, you'll find this book a very useful purchase, and its publication date is cited as September 2013. Of course, it is very important with all of these books to make sure that you have something that's as up to date as you can. So thank you very much to Dr. Mellor and to Jordans for producing an excellent publication. Thank you, bye-bye.